on so many levels. It's Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday Business Power Call on our virtual platform for Georgia Christian Business Network. Listen, I've been trying all morning to get out to just do a quick live to announce that one of our three Guardian Plus sponsors of Georgia Christian Business Network is on the platform today. Angie Cella is back again. We just figured out, thanks to Lisa, that it's been 4 years since God connected us. Her out of Philly, me out of Georgia, at a conference in Florida. And
Yeah.
God immediately connected our hearts and allowed us to embrace that He had divinely appointed us as an assignment one to another. And we've been faithful. She's been to
Mhm.
Georgia, I've been to Philly. Our friend Crystal Parker, we even, Pamela was on the call and I made mention of her behind the scenes. And there were others, Dr. Jess, that were a part of that connection. And we're still connected today. When God does it, there's nothing to be added to it, nor anything taken away. Listen, I'm so excited about my dear friend being on this platform today. Angie Cella, founder of Blinger. But what I want to say to you just right now in this instance, as this is still the year of the shift at Georgia Christian Business Network. Most of you are familiar of the opportunities that Lisa Muth and I had an opportunity for the first two Transformation Tuesdays of 2026 to download the acronym that is associated with SHIFT. If you're not experiencing a shift in your life already in 2026, I want to highly recommend that you get prepared for it because this is definitely the year of the shift. And what we're doing here at Georgia Christian Business Network, first month we focused the latter part on surrender stale systems. This month, that's the S in the acronym. The H is heightening your heartbeat for Him. The I, it says to make in it, listen, not just impact, but intentional about igniting that impact that God has given for you for your space. You have an influential opportunity to impact the lives of others. The opportunity for the F is a faith forward future focus, but you got to forgive. And the T is transition of truth to trust. At this point, I want to say to you, when God speaks, move, and the opportunity for me to tell you that God spoke to Angie. She reached out to me, and we both moved to understand his assignment because it has purpose and intent. And I want to tell you right before I ask her to introduce herself to you. Tell the people, Angie, who you are, what you do, and why it's important for them to know. And then I just want to have a brief dialogue right before you share your presentation for us today. But I want to tell you all that you could not meet a more humble person than my dear friend,
Mhm.
Angie Cella. She is amazing. She is wonderful. I know a lot of people, and she's amongst the highest for humility. It's people that are successful that walk in humility, like Erica Jackson,
Mhm.
Crystal Parker, different people that God has caused to be in a position, in a place, but yet they remain humble in that process. Angie, who are you? What do you do?
Okay.
Talk
Well,
to us.
I'm CEO, I'm inventor and chief dreamer, I'll say, of Blinger. And I'm a mom of four. And my first responsibility, given that God blessed me with, and I'm building my business and I'm building a Christian business. I'm about to have it scrawled in front of me so I can remember that I'm working for the kingdom, and that's what I do.
Awesome. Awesome. And Angie, you gave us the brief side, but the most important is that you're working for the kingdom. And
Yes.
that's what we should be doing as Christians is building the
Mhm.
kingdom.
Mhm.
The thing that I want to have you share with the people before we get started. How many of you on here, and some of you can't talk, and that is fine, but if you can chat or you want to open up, how many are familiar with Angie Cella? Better yet, probably the blinger, history of the blinger. Anybody familiar? Our own opportunities to have blinger product. Anybody? Can you talk to me in the chat? You're not familiar? Okay.
Well, I
Look,
got mine here in Belgium.
Oh, you
Can you
Donna.
get,
thank you. Jadana from Belgium has her
Wow.
blinker. How
Wow.
about that? How
That's
about
amazing.
that? Thank you so much. So there are a few. Lisa is saying that she remembers from GGG. Julie, were you going to say something?
Yes, I actually ended up from GTG. I got the blingers, and we used them for
Aw.
my daughter-in-law's uh, bachelorette. We just blinged all up and went out on the
Oh,
town and had a
cute.
ball. I got to tell them all about you. So excited to
Uh,
see you.
Oh, wow.
oh,
How
that's so
awesome.
sweet. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Julie. And
Julie. That's
Aisha
amazing.
is saying, yes, she's familiar from GGG. Alicia's not. You will be, and you're the first recipient of a blinger set. So just remember that.
Oh,
You're going to have
that's
to help me.
awesome.
Is Lisa Moose still here? That's okay.
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
still.
I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here,
she's
and
still here. Okay, so
I'm
we got to
here.
make sure that you understand that Alicia's gonna get that. I love it. Brenda's put the information out there. If you're those that are not familiar, go ahead and click that link. But the thing that I'm so impressed about that God placed on my heart, Angie, through prayer, and then in just a few minutes, we're going to get into your presentation.
Yes.
God still speaks to his people, right? Through dreams.
Yes. Agree.
Agree. And one message that I really want us to be is John 10 talks about my sheep, they hear my voice
Mm,
and they follow me, and a
mm,
stranger they will not follow.
mm, mm,
What I've known about you that I've read in your book that I meant to have right here, a copy, but I'll have it before the show's over. When you start your presentation, I'll grab it. Lisa, you've got it.
mm,
But the opportunity is this, is that when God speaks, we need to listen, but not just listen, to hearken to the word.
mm,
Hearken. There we go. Thanks, Brandon. Thank you,
mhm.
Lisa. There we go. There we go. Awesome. And some of you may not have a copy, but some of you will before the day's over. The opportunity is, what are you listening for? Who is speaking to you, recognizing his voice, and then acting upon when he speaks. What about you, Angie? What can you tell us a little bit about that? And then you start your presentation, or start your presentation at any point you're ready, because you may answer that in the process of it. But that was just key for me to highlight that I received through prayer, that is so important to understand that God is given visions and through dreams, and when you act upon them and be relentless in receiving what God said to be true, regardless of what come, what may, as my late mom used to say, and
Mm,
acting upon it, it will prove rewarding for you, but not just for you. It's what Angie said. It's kingdom. Let's hear it,
mm.
Angie Sella.
Okay, yes. Well, I always joke with my kids, God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason. So we need to be listening for sure. And I am going to talk about listening, actually, funny enough, today. So I'm not ready to go into it right now because
Okay.
I do get a little nervous still. I know I shouldn't be because everybody tells me I shouldn't be, but it's like in one ear, out the other, speaking of.
Right,
So,
right.
but
And you're
I'm
good.
excited to share
Hmm.
what's happened specifically this last year in my business because a lot of what I've learned, I really want to um, get kind of give to everyone on this call. And, it's not theoretical, it is lived testimony. So I'm really excited to get going in it. But I'm happy to like talk some more or I can jump in, but I have worked really hard on this so that I could get it just right for you guys.
We're gonna let you get right in because
Okay,
I
thank you.
believe God has already spoken to you, what He would have you to say to us. The thing that I want to even respect about your nervousness is that I learned a long time ago from someone very, very successful in life that you need to have just a little bit of nervousness. Because if you're overly confident, there's some self stuff going on there, and
Mm,
you really are not relying on the Holy Spirit to kick in.
yes,
So,
yes,
Holy
ma'am.
Spirit has room to move here today.
Yes, he does. Let's go.
Come forth, my friend. Let him
Okay.
do.
Well, if it's okay with you, Beth, I'd like to share some slides I put together. So is that good?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to share my screen. Is that right? Here. Okay. Let me get it set up right first so I can be on the right slide when it starts. Okay. Oh, Um, sorry about that. Hold on. I've almost got it. Okay. Let me share it. Here we go. All right, let me get this to full screen. Okay. So, you know, uh, originally this was going to be called Quit and Trust. And some of you guys may have seen it, said Schiff, SHIF, can't happen if you don't get the T right. But I don't know about y'all, but Schiff kind of looked funny and kind of sounded a lot like another word. I won't say it because we're all good Christian ladies and gentlemen here, but it just seemed funny. So I was thinking we should rename it and make it sound a little bit, more sophisticated. And so I told Beth, I think it was just yesterday, I want to call it from Worrier to Warrior. And because I think that's such an amazing play on words there and so important for us as believers. And then I was working on my presentation, I thought, you know what? Quit and trust is raw. It's real. It's probably more me. It's vulnerable. It's counterculture, counter instinct. Um, and I decided, that's what we're going to call it. We're not going to use the conference title of Worrier to Warrior. So I really love Quit and Trust. And I'd like to ask you guys, remember I'm in the middle of probably a pretty big testimony right now. I'm maybe coming out of it. I may still be in it. I'm not really sure, but I'm somewhere. And so I hope that I'm not going to have all the answers, but I will share what I know now, or what I believe would be helpful for you guys. And just remember that I'm learning to surrender in real time. So here we go. So I did want to go over shift because it was in our original title, Beth, and I love that you do this every year. Y'all may know Beth does an acronym every year. And as we think about quitting and trusting, I want to tell you that none of it's possible without trust. And that's a fact. And I'm going to prove it to you, hopefully. But I want to ask you first, can you surrender and let God have the reins if you don't trust? Can you surrender anything in your life to anyone if you don't trust them? You can't. It's just you can't do that. And let me ask, can you truly love someone you don't trust? You're going to have a heartbeat for God and you don't trust him? It's not happening. Can you ignite, as she says, an international? I just imagine Beth, she's just like, I don't know, Simon. But can you ignite an international anything and have influential impact, true impact, if you don't trust in the one you're doing it for, it's not going to happen. And lastly, you can't hope and have forward-facing faith in your future if you don't trust in the one who has written it. So I hope you all are saying amen, and let's get our trust on, because it is so imperative to everything else you're going to have with God and everything else you're going to do for the kingdom. So we're going to talk a lot about trust on this call. So I hope you're getting ready, and I want everybody to say conviction, here I come, because I'm hoping to convict you. And if you're new to believing, you're going to be like, yeah, game on, trust, of course. And if you don't yet believe, you're going to be like, I don't know. I haven't even taken the first step. So this presentation is really, it's for you too, but it's really for the ones that have been believing for a long time. And I really feel God's calling me, because he did it to me, I guess, to say, let's wake up and let's amp up. We need to amp up our trust for sure in him, and stop, being, I guess scared is the word. So my story, real briefly, I think most of you know I had a dream about Blinger in 2014. And then a few weeks later, God came to me in a dream and said, I want you to make this product. And then I proceeded to fail miserably at making the prototype. I went through 5 engineers over 4 years. And I finally had a real viable prototype, but I was maxed out in debt. There was no way for me to get any more loans. I'm a single mom of 4 then and now still. And so I got all 4 of my kids together in the kitchen, and they were just little things then. I got 2 in college and 1 on the way right now, but then the oldest was 11. And I said, guys, what do you think if we sell the house and I'll just build Blinger myself? And I said it a little differently, but they'd heard of all these tooling and manufacturing terms over the 4 years I was trying to get to prototype, because I was learning about all that. And my oldest daughter, Cambry, said, you got to do it, Mom. And I was like, great. So we sold our house. I had equity in it. I rented a townhome. I built the tool in China over the summer. And I went to a licensed show in Dallas Toy Fair. And everyone went crazy for it. And just for those of you that don't know, I think there was one of you, this is the tool that basically was my prototype, my first prototype that we refined. And you can load crystals, gems, rhinestones, whatever into, oh, this is the one that we're actually making changes to. We'll see if it works. Here, I'll just open it up. And so you basically just push it to the hair. And I don't know if y'all can see that. And it puts gems in your hair. So this is this is my dream. And anyway, so everyone went crazy. I blinged all these women at this show, and Walmart wanted us, Target, everyone. So I ended up licensing it, because I was just one employee then, and licensing it to a toy company. And and I wrote my book that Beth was talking about. And I just really thought I tried to stay humble, Beth, but I don't know. Um, anyway, but then I was really like, wow, God came to me and I did what I was supposed to do. And here we go. And the licensor that I licensed it to, they did 20 million in sales in 2019. So, and I got royalties off of that. So as you can imagine, it changed our lives. So we built our dream home, and we moved I wrote my book, and I thought, great, I'm just going to be a mom, We moved into this home in April of 2021. And all summer, while I was trying to unpack and get the home settled in, get us settled into our home, I kept hearing God saying to me, you're not done, which really annoyed me, because I really did just want to be a mom. It's hard just to be a mom, especially when you've got a lot of kids and there's no husband. So it's hard just to be the mom, craft with them or relax with them. It's just so stressful, right? So, but it's funny how we have plans and God's like, yeah, good try. And there's always a blessing in it, man. I think you all know that, but there is if you don't. So I I appreciated that. I actually had a deal on a Cosmoprof booth because I'd licensed the toy version, but not the women's version of the product, which like the crystals I just put in my hair actually um they're actually precision cut glass crystals. They're not plastic rhinestones like we put in our kids' product. So I thought, let's go to Cosmoprof. I had already a down payment on this booth, and I took my kids, and Cambria and I worked that booth. And I said, let's see if women really want this product. Funny enough, at toy shows, there are no children, it's just adults. But I thought the women were projecting that, yeah, kids are going to like this. And even though they were excited, I thought maybe it's just they're excited because they know kids are going to like it and they're going to make lots of sales. I don't know. So I went to Cosmoprof and with Cambria, and I thought, let's see if the women loved it. They went crazy for it, but I couldn't have access to the first tool that I'd built in China because it was now kind of being used and I was going to have to go through them. It was all messy. So I built another tool in China just really that might have come after this next part, but what happened to me in 2021, I'm in this house, our dream home, and in October, that's when you get your biggest royalty checks if you license a product. Because everything for toy, especially because everything ships in September, and then you get paid 30 days later at the end of October. Well, what should have been hundreds of thousands of dollars was $10,000. And I had moved into a $6,000 a month home with a $3,000 a month basically tax bill. So $10,000 was, not good, right? And I remember thinking at the time, did I just build our dream home for another family to live in? So that was 2021. I took out a loan, an SBA loan. I did a lot of praying, and I took out a loan and I decided I would launch the women's product in 2022. Launch the women's product. And I'm just going to summarize really quick. Poorly, by the way, I do not have a business degree. I may know a lot about business now the hard way, but I didn't then at all. The biggest fear I've ever had, and I'm not afraid of much, was hiring my first employee. I did not want to be a boss. I don't like telling people what to do, except for my kids. I'm good with that, but not adults. And so I was like really scared. And so we launched officially in 2022. We lost money that year, about $600,000. And that whole year, I was asking for the licensor to give Blinger back to me. If they didn't want it, could they just give it back to me? And I got it back at the end of 2022. And I took it to Toy Fest in Vegas in the beginning of 2023, around this time. And I was going to that show. We got the last booth in the back corner. It was a last minute trip. And I thought, I hope that people don't walk by the booth because I didn't know why they stopped selling it at the other company. They were acquired by another company, and I don't know. I think because of 2020, they just became uninterested. Because who's going to bling their hair and sit around on the couch in their, sweats, So I thought, sales went down. Not as much as you would think, but they did go down in 2020, of course. But they didn't do anything, like I said. So I was worried that I was going to be at this booth at Toy Fest and people were going to walk by and go, oh, that's Blinger. That's old. And just be such snoots. I don't know. My imagination is not positive sometimes. And so the first day, QVC approached us, CBS Deals, Shark Tank, and I cried the entire first day. And by the way, during the years it was licensed, I'm going to try to show this above here. I would get samples, if you can see all these samples up here, from the toy company I licensed it to. And so I took all those samples and just put pricing to it and set it on the table. And then I told everybody it was going to be 6 months before they got their product. But anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of, what's the word? There's a good word for it, but I'm kind of scrappy. I'm kind of scrappy that way. So I'm not the polished, I am the raw, trust me. We had a profitable 2023, a profitable 2024. I'll just share with you. I don't know if it's tacky to share, and I don't know if it's super confidential. Like I said, I'm not really a business person, but we did oh gosh, I had the numbers the other day. We did over 3 million in sales and we were profitable. And so, that just means we paid everybody all of our costs and we had money left over. And, it was like a couple 100,000, which is amazing, right? It doesn't sound like much out of over 3 million, but apparently it's good. So, we went to Toy Fair that year. We increased the size of our booth. I had a team that I was like, I will say, so grateful for. And I remember thinking how grateful I was for them about a month before this next thing happened. And this is when everything kind of changed for me. Believe it or not, this was the moment, not the October royalty check. But in March 21st of last year, 2025, my CFO walked into my office and said to me, you need to file for bankruptcy, sell your home, and move into an apartment. And he used to joke around, and I was like, you're so funny. I was like, ha ha ha. And he was like, no, I'm serious. And I can't explain it. I don't know exactly what he was thinking. I do know that there was a tax bill that he was concerned about that we owed. So he tried to quit, but I begged him to stay and help get the numbers right. He hadn't been keeping up with the cash flow numbers. So that's a big deal, by the way. And you should always be in charge of your cash flow. Always know what's happening with your money. Business owners, please, if you haven't already learned this the hard way, you will. So just do it. He wasn't doing anything nefarious. It was just, I don't know, mismanagement. So Beth knows that day because that night I made a $5,000 donation to GCBN because I know who's really in charge. And I got all my kids together and I told them, I didn't tell anyone in my company. I didn't want to magnify it. Then I shared it with my innocent children. But I just didn't want them to worry. But I did share it with my kids. And I don't know. That's just the choice I made. And they've just been such a support to me and just the love they give me. Nothing really else, but I just wanted them to know, maybe prepare them. And Cambria, who was then at that moment, she was the one that said, you got to sell it. You got to do it, Mom. She said, oh, we're not selling the house. So we laugh about that. It's like she totally flipped on. She's like, oh, no, we're not selling the house this time. Like, that's not happening. You don't have to worry, Mom. And so I think that was pretty good. So I lost all of my team last year, but one person, Jane, who's on this call, was the only one who stayed. Thank you, Jane. And I negotiated payment plans with everyone, including my factory in China, which is unheard of. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. They actually said we're not letting 2 full filled shipping containers leave until you pay us. And I owed them $300,000 at that moment. And I said, please, I'll sign anything. I will honor this if it, I didn't want to tell them if it takes the rest of my life because they didn't want to wait the rest of my life to get it. But I said, I will not honor this. And I wouldn't have not honored it. I would have paid it. And because I do think when you could take advantage, because come on, let's face it, they're not going to come after me from China, most likely. I guess they could, but most likely they're not. And but I really believe that our integrity is everything. And once you give that one up, you might as well let the rest fall. Um, so um, I I fought, I guess, and kept fighting and kept wheeling and dealing, as my dad would say. And I on October 14th, I I decided that I couldn't do it anymore. And this is what I said, because I actually left an audio text to my friend with this message on it, sobbing. So I actually have the transcript. And this is, I'll read you an excerpt. I said, he's really messed up with me. He meaning God. I don't know why he asked me to do this. I'm not good at it. I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't. It's too hard for me. I'm not good at it. My God. This is literally, and I was crying over an email response that I thought I'd been rejected over, and I had just felt so much rejection that year. So I'm having a whole breakdown, and I said, I promise I'm not normally like this to my friend. I promise. I said, I've been so tough for so many years now. I'm just made of steel, but I'm not. I'm not made of steel. I can't anymore. I just can't. I can't. I just can't. I just can't. I don't want to, and I can't. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Maybe it's just menopause. I'm okay, but I gotta go. And I hung up. That was the end. I'm surprised she didn't, send the police to check on me that day. But 10 days later, I'm sitting at this desk, and this group that helps us with our Amazon are showing me a this slide thing, and I'm looking at it, and they've got this graph, and it's got like $300,000 on it or something. And I'm asking them, and I'm like, what are you showing me? Is this like something from last year? Because we had been down all year. We had been under, we were down by 45%, almost cut in half for all of 2025 and he said, no, this is the last 10 days. And I was like, what? We had been averaging about $70,000 a month on Amazon. We did $300,000 in 10 days from the day I was quitting to 10 days later. We ended the year, we sold over 2 million between October 14th and December 31st. 2 million. We ended up higher at the end of the year than all the years before on Amazon. And we were selling out on QVC. So we did about, I would say, about $3 million between mid-October to the end of December. And everyone was asking me, what did you do? What happened? I was like, I did nothing. I actually quit. I gave it to him. I didn't even give it to him. Come on, let's be real. I just quit. I quit, and he said, finally. And God took over. And so I love this verse I want to read to you, and then we're going to move on. But that's my backstory. But unless the Lord builds the house, everyone else builds it in vain. So I don't think I said that verse right. I don't like this version of the verse. We'll get to it later. But that's my story. Basically, I have one thing else that happened here that I'll share with you at the end. But let's dive into quitting. And worrying is part of why we're going to quit anything. Worrying is a real problem for all of us. And the first thing we want to do before we can become a warrior is to stop being a worrier. Worry, to me, is a form of disbelief. If you truly believe, would you ever worry? If you truly believe in an omniscient, absolutely sovereign, all-powerful, loving God, would you ever worry? So this is your reminder today of who you belong to, whose you are, and who is ultimately in charge of everything. The great I am, El Shaddai, that is your Father. Over and over again in scripture, God tells us not to fear, not to worry, not to be anxious. It's one of the most repeated commands in the Bible. If God, and I would just say if God repeats something over and over, maybe it's because he knows we'll struggle with it again and again throughout our lives. And so he is just constantly reminding us, stop worrying and let God be God. So let's go back to trust. I want to just say that there's no way you can become a warrior for Christ if you don't trust him. And if you don't trust him, you will have worry in your life, the more than you should as a follower. If you're a believer, worry really, you got to just get this going. And believe me, I was just there. It's easier said than done, and I get that. But I just want to encourage you and remind you that there's no place for worry in your faith walk. You cannot, this is when I learned you cannot outwork a mind filled with worry. Worry will always win. So you have a choice. You can worry or you can trust. You can keep doing it all the same way, expecting things to be different, which I think we all know is the definition of insanity, or you can trust. You can feel alone and filled with anxiety, or you can trust. You can carry it all on your back, or you can trust. You can continue to stress yourself out into an early grave, or you can trust. Just quit and trust. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5, verse 7. I mean, there's so many things about worry in the Bible. I literally have like 6 verses here. Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. I love this one. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:6. That's one of my favorite verses for the record. So let's go to the next slide here. Oh, I don't know how to do this. Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. So quit. So how do you quit? And I know for some of you A-type, this is confusing, totally counterintuitive. It's like, how can I quit? And this is me too. Don't get me wrong. It won't get done if I quit, right? How is it getting done if you quit? And you know, I'm really important in all of this, right? Aren't I? And yes, you are so important to God, but you're not more important than God. You need to quit and you need to let him have it. And he wants it. He wants it. He doesn't want you to carry it anymore. He doesn't want you to keep going and striving. He wants you to give it to him and just let it go. So I know it's hard, and I want you guys to think, for me, I quit because I was at the end, right? But you could quit before getting there. You can quit long before getting there and get yourself out of the way. And then let him and stop the striving and the just oh, that's not the answer you wanted, so you're looking for a different answer, or you're not getting an answer you think. Well, maybe that is the answer. So just whatever it is, if you don't know, well, what do you mean quit? I just want you to think about, what is that thing that's not sitting right in your life? What have you been striving for in place of him? Or it's probably the thing that you complain about the most, but keep doing. That's what you need to quit. And probably not even the complaining, but the focus and the attention on it. It's that thing you think is bigger than God. And so you do it every day. And that says to him that you're saying, I can't trust you, God, to do it. So it's all comes back to trust. You have to trust him in order to quit. So if you don't trust him, we need to amp that up. You need to believe, right? Like not, oh, I believe, I'm a believer, but are you? I don't know. I get it too. We all have doubts, but you need to wrap it up and throw it away and get your belief on. Get your trust game going and just lay it at his feet. Lay whatever it is at his feet.
Angie, question. Does
Yeah.
trust speak to back to what you were saying, your love for God? Is trust a measure? Can you elaborate on that? Being a measure of how much you love God.
Hmm.
If he has my best interest at heart and I'm in
Yeah.
love with someone,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking of my devotion to Oswald Chambers this morning. When you're in love with someone, you
Mhm.
believe that they have your best interest at heart. Is that true? And so
Absolutely.
if that's true and that's your truth,
Mhm.
then you can trust him more
Mhm.
because regardless of where I am, the outcome belongs to him.
That's right,
You
Beth.
know, and I'm thinking too of your book.
I think it's also not about the outcome. I think it's more about the trust. It's about the walk of trust with him because the outcome is going to be conjured up in your mind of how it should be. So
We
it's
don't own the outcome, is what I'm saying. We
mm,
don't own the outcome. We don't
that's right.
concern ourselves with the outcome. It
Yeah, you
belongs
just
to
really
God.
shouldn't be
Right,
concerning yourself with the outcome, in my
right.
opinion, because uh, it's not yours to do. I think a lot of, love sometimes for people is hard too, because, he loves us unconditionally. He sent his son to die on the cross for us. Like, there can't be a greater love than that. And so for us to, I think for a lot of people, they don't even know that kind of love. They've never really experienced it. And and they look for it. I think they look for it in a lot of things other than God. And they're just never satisfied. There's a real satisfaction problem in this world. And it's because we're looking for all these other things to satisfy us. They can never fill the void. They will never fill that hole that he placed in us because, and only he can fill. Um, I can't even watch the news anymore because it's so true that the wealthiest people, I like to ask myself sometimes, if you had everything, what would you do? What is it? It's like the end of the Willy Wonka movie. So what happens to the kid that gets everything? What happens to the woman that gets everything she ever wanted in her life? What happens to her? Who is she at the end of the day? And these are questions. This is what humbles me, Beth. It's like who am I to not be satisfied? Who am I to judge? Who am I to um uh to be arrogant, you know? All right. Well, anyway, you got me off course a little bit there, but yes, love, I think a lot of people struggle with that because it is tied to trust, and love is something a lot of us that may have never actually had fulfilled in our lives, right? A love like he gives. So, um, let me just move on. I just want to say that um, we need to wait on him, quit forcing the outcomes, quit talking so much. You got two ears, one mouth for a reason. So are you speaking or are you listening? Are you thinking or are you trusting? I mean, a lot of things I've done lately, I'm really not thinking. And it feels like the Holy Spirit to me. It feels like I'm moving in the spirit versus in Angie, right? So um be still, sit and just be still. And we have trouble with being still because it feels like non-obedience, right? It feels like we're actually not doing something good, but he actually calls us to be still and let God, um, and listen for his direction. If you're going to strive to listen. And then quit making prayer last is the fourth one. Um, you're going to move. One of the jokes is instead of going to him first, a lot of us we will go do it and then we'll pray for the blessing of what we did. But we need to flip it. We need to go to him first and then receive. Again, it's just letting go, letting God, let go of the control. And I did it by happenstance. I quit. I didn't do this purposefully. I just quit. And God said, finally, she's out of the way, and he was able to move. But he does the work when we step aside. He really shows off even and shows up. But we don't let that happen. We're the problem here. We need to step aside and let God in. And really don't lean on your understanding. You can probably have the greatest love of your life if you will trust. So maybe start with trust and let the love flow because it will. And he will overfill your cup with love if you will let him. But you have to trust him and trust him to I promise that if you can quit whatever it is and go to him first, wait on him. I have a great story on waiting on him. I won't go share. I feel like I'm running low on time, so I just want to wrap it up here. Um, but I just want to that when you do this, your breakdowns will become your breakthroughs. And we need the valley in order for God to do the work in us, to build our character for greater things to come, to give us strength, mental muscles for when the next disaster comes. We will cast out the devil, stay in peace, and give it to him and not hold on to it for so long. So you need the valleys. Let the valleys come. I can't tell you how much I hate the valleys and love the valleys because I hate them when I'm in there, but I sure love them when after I've gone through them, or even as I'm just coming through them. It's like I'm clicking with you. I see it, God. I am so close to him, and that's amazing. So, let you will build unimaginable strength from walking through the valley. And the strength will, in a lot of ways, look to your former self like weakness, but it is pure, amazing strength of the Lord. And he's preparing you. If you don't go through the valley, you cannot level up. You cannot hit that next plateau if you do not go, or a plateau to top of the mountain, whatever, if you don't go through the valley. So let the valleys come and go through them. And then when you get, to the other side, success, it it can be hard to surrender then too. And but when I tithed, or I feel like it was tithing back when I donated, I know it was, I got something in return, but in my mind, it was just like, no, I am aligning myself with God because He is the true decider of everything. He decides if this home is mine or someone else's. He decides if this company is going or it's dying. No one else gets that choice. They don't have that power. Only He has that power. I don't even have that power. Only God has that power. And that's why I tithe, because I was aligning my beliefs with him, and I was going to stay in alignment no matter what some man said to me, man or woman, not knocking men. I was not going to listen to someone else tell me what only God can tell me. And so you don't quit your calling. That's not what we're talking about when you surrender. You just quit trying to control it. Um, and he is, and when you get there, you can be all like, "Ooh, look at me." That's when you'll be right back in the valley. You're going right back real quick. He's just gonna like push you off the mountain. Don't do that, please. It's not about you, okay? Your confidence will grow the second. By the way, this is very important because pride, we talk about arrogance, but pride is the other side of pride is insecurity. So, if you're real arrogant or you're real insecure, it's got something to do with you, and that's pride. And so pride has got to go. Get it out. And, if you're insecure and you're like, oh, those arrogant people, and you're insecure, then that's a problem for you. And when we grow is when we remind ourselves that it's not about us. So, I'm almost done. So become a warrior for Christ. There's just three things. Ask to be one. Ask him to use you for his kingdom, his purposes. I'd like everyone right now to say, God, close your eyes and say, God, please use me for your kingdom. And you can open your eyes. And if you will pray that every morning or every night, just once a day, just ask him to use you for his purposes. Watch what will happen. It will be amazing. And you can text me or call me. Second is we have to yield to the Lord. We have to be obedient. He's your commanding officer. 2 Timothy 2:4. God told me last night, lay it down at his feet. So that's for somebody. Overcoming worry is becoming the warrior. You step into your identity as a warrior when you overcome the worry. So this is going back to the worry, which comes, from holding on to things and being so anxious and not getting the answer and not waiting on him and not getting into prayer and just being off course and all over the place. So it's like you're combating it. You're fighting against yourself, and he's asked us, deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow him. You just have to do that. And trust is the third, of course. And trusting doesn't mean you're not afraid. It's not courageous if you're not afraid. You're only courageous when you're afraid and you do it because you trust him and you're like, I'm trusting you, God. And it's okay. Like, that's it. You're going to be afraid. It's not going to erase trust, and you're going to worry. That's not going away. I'm just wanting to give you mind tools to overcome those as quick as you can. Get back in the word, whatever you do. Read the 5,000 places where he says verses where he says not to worry, and trust him. So, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. I love that. That's Exodus 14:14. And then lean on the rock and focus on the cross. This is my last slide. The Sunday before last, this is so exciting. I handed my pastor the biggest check I've ever written to anybody, probably, except for like vendors in my business. And I'm, I said to him, I'm a single mom. He's like, I know, you've been coming to this church for 6 years, or whatever. But I was like, it was the most exhilarating, amazing, jump up and down feeling I've ever had. And I wrote the check and I put it on the kitchen island, and I was just like, look at that. I was like, kids, look at that. And the memo said, thank you, Jesus. And I handed that to my pastor on the Sunday before last. And it was incredible. And, I was having dinner with my kids the night before, and I was like, I can't think of one thing I want. There's not one thing I want. There's not one thing that any of that money anyway could buy for me that would make me the least bit happy. And I need things. I'm like everybody else. We need stuff. I'd like to have this or that, but I can't think of anything. Nothing. There's nothing that that money could do for me. Nothing. And it's an incredible feeling. And like I said, I'm walking in the spirit right now. I know that. Um, and I can't tell you how much it is to the glory of God to be able be, to have, to have someone tell me not even 11 months before that I needed to quit and file bankruptcy and move into an apartment. And then to be handing that check to my pastor. I mean, that's if I've never heard of another, I mean, this isn't like oh, this is a nice Christian business story. This is like the Red Sea here. This is like, what? And I did nothing. I quit. I quit on the whole thing. The thing that I was so obedient to for years and proud of that obedience. I was like, I quit. I quit. And he took it. And he will do the same for you guys. And
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Just
yeah.
amazing. And Angie, and I'm gonna share something. I think you're good with it. That day that that happened and that you made that donation to GCBN,
Hmm.
I remember being upstairs and some have framed it the upper room. And we were on the phone for hours. I'm talking hours. And
Hmm.
you recall that. And I
Hmm.
was praying while I was talking and praying to you, praying with you. And I remembered hearing what you said that someone had told you, the message that you shared publicly here now. But that is also the same someone that told you that this wasn't an opportunity. You
Yes.
negated that. I put it in the chat when you were speaking because I didn't want to interrupt again.
Oh,
What a
sorry.
powerful
I was on
message.
my full screen. Yeah.
No. Powerful, powerful message. But what I put in there is the opportunity when we, and maybe I didn't put in the chat what I was, you sowed on good ground. And that was a seed offering at a critical time. You
Mhm.
trusted. That is such an exemplary opportunity to demonstrate trust. And that trust that you showed is through your actions and your donation to GCBN and
Mhm.
following through. Although someone that you had trusted over your finances that was now telling you that you're in this predicament, but
Mhm.
if you think about it, months
Mhm.
before had shared with you not to make
Yeah.
that investment. That's what I'm seeing right now. You told me not to do this, but then
Mhm.
I'm in this as a result. But what I'm seeing, and not just taking credit from GCBN sowing on good ground, because there were other areas I know for a fact that you sowed into, but in a critical state that you were in, it
Yeah.
doesn't take God long.
Mm-mm.
11 months later and you're handing off. That was a hard season for you, and you didn't give up. And that's why I want this message. And we're going to go a little bit over, but y'all pray with us. And several ones are sending me notes that they have to drop for varying reasons or whatever. But that's fine. And we're recording and we're live streaming to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. But you've got to hear this because I want Angie, she's encouraged us already to the point that I know some of you are challenged, but someone may have something that you need to ask of her uh, to encourage you even further in your personal walk. And I want to allow that space and time to be able to do that, to give you that space to say feedback. One other thing that I'm going to tell you is, mm, oh my gosh. We have an announcement. Angie's going to be one
Yeah.
of our speakers at God Golfing Girls 2026 on August 14th through the 16th. You're going to get the privilege to interact with her, to touch her, to get blinged by her, you know, to
Funny.
experience firsthand. And she'll get to experience you because she wants to do that as well.
Mhm.
God has no respect of person, absolutely none. What he's done for Angie, he wants to do it for all of us. What
Mhm.
is so important that God wants us to understand that he's connecting his people at this space and time because it's bringing him greater glory to expand the kingdom. That's all he's doing. You know, God favors each of us. We're his favorites. We're the apple of his eye. And but
Mhm.
we've got to believe that and we've got to receive that. And the other thing is we've got to be uniquely unified. We have to have the opportunity that if we can't see that someone needs to shift, God has to do it. Because Angie, like me, I've referred to myself as Lawyer Liz, sometimes too as a fault. So
Mhm.
God has to create the shift, but now I'm more discerning and I understand and I'm not hesitant if it's not a good fit. But the thing that I want to do, is there anyone that wants to, either come off camera or put something in the chat? I have a message already from Kim Croft Thornton over on the Facebook side of the house saying, "Thank you, Angie, for sharing this awesome testimony. I needed to hear this." Renee Salvery is saying, "Thank you, Angie, for being transparent. Your testimony is a blessing to all people, saved or unsaved, showing us the working miracle power of God's hands and blessings upon blessings." Is so important that we understand. Kim, websites over coffee. Thank you for sharing. I need to get off here in a second due to work, but this was a huge blessing.
Oh,
This it's awesome what you're sharing, and you never gave up. I've got some things here.
well, I think oh, those are your gifts you're giving away.
Yes, I want to give away all of this. I want to give away. So we'll figure out,
Yeah.
we'll just spend the names of the people here for as
Mhm.
much as I had left over from GGG. This is all I've got. But
That's- Oh, we'll send you some more, Beth.
yeah, we'll get some more. But I want to give away these three just because you showed up. I
Yeah.
want to give away some others if there's opportunity where you want to be. Look at GCBN,
Okay.
gcbnetwork.com. If you're interested in joining, I've got a book, Angie's book. We're going to get some copies and we'll get them to you. Okay. Copies of her book to give away to those that look at joining our network. But some of you just showed up. We're going to give away these gifts because you're here to hear this story. And we want it to be edifying to you and glorifying to God because this is amazing. One thing that you said too, I want you to talk about during the waiting period and what does work look like. I love what you said because Holy Spirit, during the Lent, my Lenten fast, I'm
Mhm.
also paying it forward because
Yeah.
I'm making space for God to move. And every day, and I kid you not, He's placing someone in my path or in my prayers, somebody showing up, and I'm making a sacrificial gift to
Mhm.
them. And where
Mhm.
I'm surrendering self. It could be someone that I hadn't heard from and ghosted me, but God obediently said to do this. And
Mhm.
also, you have to release hostages, is what I heard Angie saying. She said, absolutely nothing means spirited. It's not about them. And what I was saying about
Well, I
outcome,
think it's about having the right people stewarding it because it's his business and there's nothing wrong with the people that were here before, the ones that left, the ones that I had to let go. Nothing wrong with those people at all, but they weren't who God needed me to have. And they may have been the right people for that moment, but they weren't the right people to go through the valley with me. They weren't the right people to be on the other side with me. And those people will come, and you have to let people go, especially if they want to go. I kept a couple people, almost begged them to stay. And the day I begged the one my CFO to stay, and then he did. He stayed for a few more months, I think 3 months. And in June he quit. And the funniest thing, the Friday after the Monday that he quit, and he was still there, that was his last day, that Friday, we had a call, and the money that he had worried about for our taxes, I was told by our new accountant we didn't owe. And I thought, wow, that's God right there, because the reason he panicked, the reason he got scared was not a problem. It was
Now,
not.
God has a plan, and
Yeah.
I
I
am a
am.
part.
Yep,
You
part of it.
are
Yeah.
a
Yep.
part of it. I
I
mean,
love that
you
you
can
say that, Beth. Every time I'm like, oh, God has a plan and you're a part of it. I'm like, oh, that's Beth right there. I love that. Such a
we
great,
can't
it's
we
so
can't make
true.
we can't make this stuff up. We
Mhm.
cannot make the shift has to happen. And the
Yes.
shift was not that he was a bad person. It was
Mm-mm.
that
Not at all.
God, I love what you said. They can't transition
Oh, look what
to
Renee wrote. She wrote, letting people go is a part of the shift.
it is part of the shift. Is
Yeah.
letting people
True.
go and they'll bloom
I
wherever they're
learned that
planted
the
over
hard way.
there, but
Yeah.
you will bloom continuously because God is bringing the right people. One thing that I had to tell you that, and I had to make sure that we were in the same, because I said, that's just where I am. Because I wanted to make sure when you quoted, no man warreth entangles himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please the one that is chosen. You were talking about a good warrior and soldier. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's where I am because I was we
Wow.
call it Second Timothy 2:3,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's hard. I want to
Yeah.
say this. It's hard. It is so
It's
hard.
so
And my sister
hard.
was telling me something about
But
something.
I think that I want to hear that. Well, go ahead. Tell me what your sister said.
Let me tell you this because this is important.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is hard. But my sister said to me 2 weeks ago, Liz, this is hard. And I just got all up in my spirit and I said, yes, it is hard. Life is hard. I went for her. And I don't normally get like that when I'm ministering to people. But I said, life is hard. But we do
Yeah.
hard because Jess and I, because what I'm going through
Yeah.
personal,
Yeah.
Lee, and we're going through as a family, she and I had a little meltdown together, and we both said, this is hard, like 2 days before Mega said that to me. And so when
Wow.
she said it, I was ready for her
We're
because
ready.
God took me to this scripture and said, I built you for this. You do hard. We can do hard.
Yeah.
Okay? Because
Yeah.
why? And then I'll let you. Therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier, not just a good soldier, but a good soldier of who? Of Jesus Christ. I'm his good soldier. I can
If we
endure
see
hard.
all of ourselves as warriors, we need to understand that we don't fight alone. Like real warriors, we fight under authority, and it's under the most powerful sovereign authority we could be fighting for and under.
Yeah.
So, and we're not in the battle alone. The battle belongs to the Lord. And, trying harder, doing more, doing harder, going harder. That's not how David defeated Goliath. He defeated Goliath because he knew who owned the day.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. He said, you come against me with
Yeah.
a sword and whatever, he said. I forget the term. He said, but
Yeah.
I come to you in the name
Of
of
the
the
Lord.
Lord. You
Yeah.
see, we
Mhm.
got to know that the dunamis power that we have, we've got, I love Tasha Cobb's, Leonard says, we've got, God's given me all this power and authority. It's about time I used it. Yeah, it
Good.
is. And that's what
Yeah.
you've demonstrated for us.
Said, yeah, I just want people to not strive. And I want them to know they have it right. And I want them to know that they can trust him, because when I stepped aside and I just said, I'm out. I'm out. I still showed up the next day to work, but I was so far gone. And then he just said, "Don't you know I've always had you? I've always had you." And that's what he said to me. And I can't tell you, not doing it and receiving that, that is love. That was a sign of love to me, that I didn't have to be of service, that someone could serve me in a way. I don't know, that sounds selfish or awful to me
No,
because I
no,
like to
no.
serve people. But it was that truest form of, I think for a hard worker like myself, and if you're a hard worker, you don't know that it gets done unless you do it. And so to just stop and, like I say, I'd like to say I trusted him. I do now, but I just stopped because I couldn't go on. I was not able to do it anymore of my own strength. And that's when he gave me that gift of insight and trust and belief in him. He showed up in just the most amazing way and out of nowhere. And I had nothing to do with it. Nothing. And everybody's like, "Well, what
Absolutely.
did you do? What did you change?" I'm like, I'm nothing. And they can't believe it. They're like, "The rest of it's something." And I'm not saying these are believers. These are like my non-believer friends. And I'm like, "No, like I did nothing." But he showed me that I can do that, that I don't have to carry it. I don't need to be a woman made of steel anymore. So
You know, if we allow him, did you read the newsletter thing I sent
I
yesterday? Did you
did.
get
I
did
did.
you? Did
Yes.
you? We've got to invite him into the conversation. We
Yeah.
have to. We
Yes.
have to. And what I'm doing, and I think I want to encourage everyone that's listening on the call, that's whether you're LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or you're on the Zoom with us right now, is to challenge yourself because we go from glory to glory, okay? And we're not there yet. We may feel like we've arrived. Like Angie said, you have to do some repeat when you do that. But the opportunity that I'm sharing that God just pressed upon my heart is to embrace your spirituality like never before. The shift is all tied up, yes, in surrender and stale systems, but the born identity, the four systems that mentioned are the beliefs, the operating, regulating, and navigating systems. We've got to get back to the born identity of Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you and I called you and I ordained you to be a prophet. The stale systems have impacted our belief systems, our operating systems, our regulating system and navigating systems. And I want to encourage you that all of that junk that's been taught, that people have said, that we thought, things that we've done that weren't pleasing to God and didn't follow his ways, getting away from the fruit of the spirit and allowing our spirit man, our flesh to what God is saying, he wants us, he's pulling us back to that. And the only way that we're going to experience him, like what Angie, she's given us a perfect shift acronym in real life is everything you've said just aligns so perfectly with the download that he gave me for shift last year. And what
Wow.
he's trying to tell us, and he sent you today as his agent to help us to understand that no, don't worry about the outcome because the outcome belongs to God. Because what sometimes, Angie, the outcome that I see, it looks like failure. But in
Right.
God's eyes, oh, it's exactly where I need you, Beth.
Yeah.
I've got you right where I
Right.
need you now.
Everything's like backwards in a way. And it's like we're so against what we've been
Yes.
taught or think in this world that we need to do. And um it's truly like when we can trust him and know, truly know that he's there, and just can be a challenge even for believers sometimes because we get caught up in this world, in this secular world where things That's right. The outcome belongs to God. We get so caught up in the things we can see and in of this world. And let me tell you, he's all in this world too. I see him everywhere in this world. Don't get me wrong. But I guess um, the ways of man, it's like we really have to be warriors. We have to fight to stay on that narrow path, not get on the main road, and be confident in that path. And then also one thing that I wasn't doing because it's weird. I was like a Christian that was above the other Christian, the non-Christians. And I'm like, no, I need to get those people because God asks us to love everyone, not just the people it's easy to talk to and then to just go and agree with everything we say. He's asked us to love everyone and to reach out to everyone and bring everyone to his kingdom. And so I don't get out much, but when I do get out, I try to do that. I try to reach out to someone more purposely. And funny enough, so has Cambria. We just talked. I said, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing too. Like not being this undercover Christian, you know, but
I'd
I
love for
got
you
my
to,
cross on and
yeah,
no
yeah. I'd
prayers,
love for you to bring
whatever.
her to
Yeah.
GGG. Can she come, Cambria?
Yeah. Yeah, if she can. Yes, she would come.
I would
Yeah.
love to. We'll talk about something. Yeah, I need her.
She's
Tell her
amazing.
Beth
She's going
needs
to
her.
Egypt. Oh, I should send you her link. She's going to Egypt Thursday for mission work. And she's going to
Send
Mount
it to me.
yeah.
Send it to me. Send it to me. Listen, let me read this. Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. Today, devotional. Oswald Chambers, my utmost for his highs. I know you can't read that. Well, it's faded. Anyway,
I
when the
love that.
Spirit of God, well, first of all, his 2 Corinthians 12:15 is his verse. I will gladly spend and be spent for you. I'm just going to read the first paragraph, but you got to hear it. When the Spirit of God has shed abroad the love of God in our hearts, we begin deliberately, keyword, to identify ourselves with Jesus Christ's interest in other people. And Jesus Christ is interested in every kind of man there is. We have no right in Christian work to be guided by our affinities. I like this one, I like that, and I don't like that one.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest tests of our relationship to Jesus Christ. The delight of sacrifice is that I lay down my life for my friend, not fling it away, but deliberately lay my life out for him and his interests in other people, not for a cause. We love a cause, but not for a cause.
Right.
Paul spent himself for one purpose only, that he might win men to Jesus. Paul
Chills.
attracted to Jesus all the time. Attracted to Jesus all the time, never to himself.
Mm.
I am made all things to all men that I might by all means save some. And I mean, I can't make this stuff up. You said
No.
it and listen at that. That's
Well,
where he
leaders,
wants us.
he wants us to be leaders. And you think about the word leader and you think in business, okay, you're going to be a leader. But what does a leader do? They lead people. And he wants us to lead people to him. So be a leader, lead people you don't have to do anything else. Just lead him, just lead it to them. And, I try to like think of things that because I wasn't always a believer. I wanted to be a believer, but I didn't have it and I didn't know how to get it. And so I try to think of what that person was like before, like me, and just try not to be like too much, just I don't need to do too much. I just can do a little bit. And God, I just need to plant the seed that something bigger than them exists and they can be a part of that. That's it. They
It-
can be
it-
a part of that. And then if they get into it, I tell them start with the New Testament. Don't start with the Old Testament because it'll confuse
it'll
you.
confuse you.
You
But
got
let
to
me say
grow a
this,
little bit.
Angie, two things. Two things. you got to have the right people around you to encourage you to go forward. That's from way back there. I have to bring that forward.
So true.
In business, especially kingdom business, if they're not seeking God, look to shift. If you don't see evidence of their fruit, you've got to make a shift. And look at you. It was costly, but look at how God restored. Go ahead. I have a spiritual daughter that's medical field. She said, let it bleed out. Just let
Wow.
it bleed out and let it go. It's not worth it. You don't need the wrong people in your business. Let it go. Let them have it. If they got something that belongs to you and you think that if I don't do business with them, I won't have access, let it go. The other thing is what you just said is look for those spaces of Cambria being in your space. She told you two powerful things. She told you to sell the house. I love that child. Okay.
Yeah.
She said, sell the house.
Yeah. You got to
She
do it,
knew
Mom.
she knew when to let it go,
And when to
know
say no.
when to fold them, and know when to hold them.
Hold them.
Okay, you
That's
better
right.
hold on. You better hold on. I'm
That's
not
right.
kidding you. You got to have the right because I got a Cambria. Dr.
Yeah.
Jess, she'll tell
Yeah.
me, oh, mom, no, we're not going out like that.
Uh-uh.
No, we're not
No.
going out like that. This
No.
is what God says. And you got to have that around you. I've got my team, Lisa.
Yeah. And we have to
She,
be reminders to each other. I think that's why these
yeah,
calls you do are so
yeah.
important. And
I don't even know why you called me that day or I called you. God told me to call you that day. I had no
yeah, that's
idea.
right. You
Right. I
called
had no
me.
idea. I
You had
called
no
you.
idea. You called
And I
me
don't make a lot of
and
phone
I
calls,
said,
y'all.
I
Okay.
I need to write a check to somebody and I think it's to you or something like that.
Wow. And
I
and I
it's
didn't tell her, but her
and that
timing was
I
impeccable.
am putting my whatever, the money on the line because he it's all his, right? This is all on loan to us. None of this is ours. Anyway, so who am I to decide like the amount of anything or the value of anything? Like it's really his and I am just having either favor or it's been lent to me to steward or to take care of. And that's a responsibility.
Jesus.
And that's our responsibility is to take care of it. But we are not here to be God. We're not here to strive. He doesn't want that for our lives. Um, we need to say I can't because God can. I can't,
Hmm.
but you can. And I'm not gonna, I'm out. I don't know.
I'm
And
out.
I think
I'm
it's
out.
funny.
I'm
I
out.
think it's funny when I listen to that message again.
Mm,
I love that I said I must be going through menopause at the end. That cracked me up. And then also um, what it, the very, this just made me laugh hearing this because, it's so me to say something like this because I truly believe.
hmm.
And it showed up. Sorry, I've got my notes all discombobulated here. This is gosh, where's my story? Oh, here it is. Okay. So, that's not it. Well, I don't know where it is, but I said basically, like, I don't know why he gave it. Oh, here. I said, he's really messed up with me. Like God messed up picking me. That's just funny, you know? And then that's what we think. We think, oh, God made a mistake when he chose me to lead Blinger. I don't know why he'd ask me to do this. I literally said those words because I believe in him and I believe that he's a part of my life. So, but I really thought he really thinks highly of me, more highly than he should have.
Wow. Wow.
You know, it's funny.
Listen.
That's funny.
You look back on that. Let me tell you something when you sent that chat. And Lisa's on this call, and Rose can listen later, and Jess will know it too. We had an opportunity for a sponsor that had been with us many years, probably since beginning. Last year, I begged her to stay.
Mm,
And I said, this is a drop in the bucket. We were close friends and everything, but she said she was going to be doing something. I said, this is a drop in the bucket for you. I
mhm,
said, but it's awesome for us.
mhm.
And I said, it enabled us to do. I said, listen, we're coming up. It was the beginning of last year. So we're coming up on 15 years. I said, did everything. I all but begged her because I've never seen the righteous forsaken by the seen begging bread. So she paid that year. This year, when Rose sent out the renewal, Holy Spirit had already told me she's going to do it again
Eh,
and to trust her. This was 2025, the
yeah.
next year, right before you paid that 5,000.
Hmm.
And so I said, Rose said, what do you want me to do? Because she wrote the letter, the Dear John, we got that. I
Mhm.
said, let her alone. I said, I'll take it from here. It took
Mhm.
me a minute because I wanted to thank her
Mhm.
for all of those years. She was my first corporate sponsor.
Mhm.
And I wanted to thank her and appreciate and the value and also to release her.
Mhm.
When you release people, because God has something for you, what He has for you is for you. And
Mhm.
I had finally gotten an opportunity to write that letter.
Yeah.
And here you come along, right in that same time frame
Mhm.
to magnify even the gift that it would have been.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, we've got to release and trust God.
Mhm.
Sometimes our confidence is in man and we say it's not, but it
Mhm.
really is
It really
because
is.
you remove them. Where are you?
Mhm.
But when you get to the place where you can say, God, I trust you.
Mhm.
See, last year, Angie, in Stand, we learned transforming truth trumps temptation. So we learned to call upon the word of God and apply it to any situation. And we believed it. We
Mhm.
believed it for ourselves some, but mostly for other people. But this year, God said to be able to shift and even get that movement going, we've got to take that truth that we believed in
Mhm.
2025 and transition it to trust in 2026.
Mhm.
Because truth, when you believe it, says God can do it.
Mhm.
Trust, when you embrace it, says He's already done it.
Mhm.
And that's where we land today. I
Mhm.
listen, for those of you that have stuck with us, I think everybody on this call
I
right
know they
now,
need
and
a
even the
round of
field, Lisa,
applause.
you get a prize. I mean, I just lost track of time, and I
I
mean, we're
know.
just hanging out here.
I actually
Lisa
do
said,
have at 2 o'clock, but I just need to go get some food in me.
yeah, we're gonna let you go
But
because Lisa's
I
gonna
love this
spin the
so
wheel.
much.
How
Yeah,
many people do we have, Lisa, all together that
There's
uh,
six altogether.
six here on this call? Did
Yeah,
you do
there's six here and including Facebook. I didn't count Brandon or Jane,
okay,
but
okay.
I can't count
Because we
anything.
lost a lot of people. There were 15 at one time on the call, but that's
Mhm.
okay. This is the way we'll do it. Aside from Alicia, who had to drop, and I promised her earlier, everybody here, these six is that we'll get you something. We got you covered. How about that? Angie, we good?
yeah, that's good. I
Yeah,
see.
we got you covered.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Thank
and
you,
go on
Beth,
our
for doing
Facebook.
this.
Thank you. Go on our Facebook page and LinkedIn or wherever and talk about how you enjoyed and give us some feedback about
Thank you, Julie.
Angie's message. What's on your heart, Julie?
I think she's just giving a.
I'm
You
just
just
giving
said
thumbs up. This was awesome.
this was awesome. Thank you for
Oh,
hanging in
good. Thank
here.
you.
She'll get to meet you at GGG. I
I
don't know if
know.
you
I
have
can't
you met
wait.
her? Have you
Because I
met her
was so
before?
bummed I couldn't go last year.
Okay, yeah. And Jessica, I told Jessica last year, she said, I mean last night that you were coming, and she said, so no one's going to college or the missions.
There is. I have one going to college, but he's going to summer. He's going to be at summer. He's going to start the summer program. So he's going early.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. So we're
all the
excited
good.
and we
Yeah.
can't wait for GGG to happen. But thank you guys so much. Lisa, I'm
Yeah.
just going to say what? We're kicking off March next week and tomorrow's Wellness Wednesday. Jessica Banner is going to be leading us in Living Well Wednesday tomorrow. We're just doing a wonderful thing here at GCBN. We're doing a good work.
You are.
like Nehemiah, and we won't come down. I mean, days like today this is a little unusual. I think this is the longest that we've had a Transformation Tuesday. Maybe Jerome Wilson, Lisa, may have gotten close one time because he had some good stuff once he was sharing. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. It is Transformation Tuesday Power Call. Angie, you've done us well. God is
Thank
so good. I thank God for you, for
I thank
bringing
God
him
for
into
you.
my life, that I can truly call you friend, and
Yes.
that you're doing the kingdom work. To Brandon and Jane and the support that they provide you, I
Yes.
just want to say salute to you. I
Priceless.
thank you for taking care of my friend, for Lisa Muth, for me showing up here, and everybody on this call, really, Aisha and Renee and Lisa. Stringer Bailey, thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. I sincerely appreciate it. I thank you for Lisa Muth because she wasn't even feeling well, but she came out, and I appreciate it. It's an
She's great.
unyielding,
Your whole
undying
team is
support with
amazing.
people around you like that.
Yeah.
Good Christian hearts, pure love. You got
Mhm.
to have those people around that have no intent of selfish gain, because if
Mhm.
they know you,
Mhm.
you're gonna bless because that's what's in your heart. So you don't even have to take it like
Mhm.
Jesus's life.
Mhm.
He gave it. So
Mhm.
just stick with me, you know. God is good, my friend. Thank you
Wow.
all. Visit
Yay.
our
Love
website.
you. Oh, I love it.
Love
Thank
it.
you so
GCB,
much, Beth. Thank you
love
so
you. I'm
much.
calling you in a minute.
Okay.
GCBnetwork.com. Focused, determined, and intentional to put God back in business. Won't you join us? We'd love to have your support. And always remember that God has a plan and you are a part of it. Take care. Bye bye
Bye.
now.
Bye.
Thanks, Angie.